So now that it's been just over a month since the Jujutsu Kaisen manga has ended its serialization in Weekly Shonen Jump and come to a close, there is something that I would love to talk about, but I'm gonna be straight up, I don't like Jujutsu Kaisen. So this is not gonna be a very positive video towards the series. Now, before I can start actually talking about what my issue is with the series, I want to clarify my intent with this video. This video is not meant to be a hate train on Jujutsu Kaisen. This is purely just my opinion on the series, what I didn't like and what I would have liked to have seen from the series. Nothing more, nothing less. Because if I try to send a hate train towards Jujutsu Kaisen, I get crucified on a cross and never see the light of day again. So with that being said, let's jump into the video. In order for me to properly or genuinely enjoy watching or reading something, I need to at least like one of the characters within the series. Primarily a few of the characters that we get introduced to earlier on, but at least one. And I'm not really a fan of how Gege Akutami likes to write their characters within Jujutsu Kaisen. To me, it sometimes feels like Gege picks and chooses what they want to focus on when it comes to a certain character. And then sometimes it'll feel like they just introduce a character and then just absolutely forget anything that they ever had planned with them, if they even had anything planned for them. To start explaining this, I want to focus on the main three that we follow throughout a portion of the series, because I do not like how Gege writes them as a trio, much less their individual characters. Gege spends very little time showing us these three characters actually spending time with each other, bonding with each other, or even creating any genuine chemistry with each other. 99% of the time that they actually spend with each other on screen is when they are on a mission, and those are very far and few in between, especially taking into consideration that they go on a maximum of 3 missions throughout the entire series. And even when they are on those missions, they aren't talking to each other or learning more about each other. They are purely focusing on the mission, which is what I'd want them to do. I wouldn't want them to talk about their feelings or themselves as a person throughout the mission, and that's not what I'm trying to say with this. What I'm trying to say with this is that Gege doesn't actually do anything to make these characters bond with each other. And it's due to this that I do not believe that these 3 characters should have any actual feelings towards each other, and by proxy, should not even really like each other. The only way that I would be able to accept that these characters get along with each other with the very short amount of time that they actually do spend with each other is if they just miraculously ended up clicking with each other right after meeting everybody. But as was shown by Megumi's reaction to having Yuji's dorm being right next to his, and Nobara's reaction to both Yuji and Megumi upon her first time meeting them, I think it's fair to say that Yuji is the only person in that group of 3 that isn't bothered by the other two's existence. As a result of everything that I just explained, anytime Gege shows us them getting along with each other, it feels unbelievably fake and incredibly forced to me. Whenever they go on a mission together, it does not feel like the reason why they're going on a mission with each other is because they have great teamwork and great chemistry with each other. It genuinely feels like that the only reason why they're going on missions with each other is because of the literal fact that they are the only people who can go on missions with each other. Nothing else. It's also due to all the previous reasons that I've listed off before that I also do not like or care about Nobara's death, but more specifically, how Yuji reacted to Nobara's death. I don't believe that for a split second that Yuji and Nobara are the friends that Gege tries to make them appear as. To me, that scene feels like if Yuji watched either like Inumaki, Maki, or Panda die. Sure, he knows of them and he's like fought on the same team as them, but I don't think any of them have had a genuine conversation with each other. At best, they're just colleagues. But do you want to know whose death triggered a genuine rage within Yuji and felt so unbelievably real? Junpei's death. Throughout the time we see both Yuji and Junpei hanging out with each other, we can see a friendship blooming. After both Junpei and Yuji agreed that the second Earthworm Man movie has some redeeming qualities, they immediately start talking about it and eventually start talking about the other movies within the franchise. Eventually, Junpei's mom finds Junpei talking to Yuji and invites him over for dinner, not only so that they can all eat together, but so that Junpei can continue talking to this brand new friend that he's made. As they are all having dinner at Junpei's place and having a great time with each other, Yuji even manages to make Junpei's drunk mom laugh her ass off, but also manages to make Junpei laugh even though he was annoyed at his drunk mom. The chemistry between Junpei and Yuji is something that feels so unbelievably real that I feel like I could have had that experience if I was put in the right situation. Which is why when Yuji watches Junpei die right in front of him, his rage and wrathful beating towards Mahito felt so good to watch. After seeing all of that, I realized that Gege is capable of writing out such relationships between characters, and I was so beyond excited to see what he would eventually do with the main three that we follow, only to be greeted with absolutely nothing and to be sorely left disappointed. All it takes is one similar interest for a genuine conversation to strike up between the three, and that chemistry can start there, but we never get to see that throughout the entire story. Moving into the section that we're about to, I'm going to be purely speaking my own opinion on these three characters and how I feel about them. And I feel that there's no better place to start than to talk about my least favorite of the three, Nobara Kugisaki. Where do I start with Nobara? To put it simply, I don't like her personality at all. And I want to genuinely ask every single person watching this video a question. If you were in both Yuji and Megumi situation, where this is your first time meeting someone, and this is their first time meeting you, and their first reaction to you without even saying hi or hello is, sheesh, I'm always so unlucky, and sighing at you, would you like that person? Because I sure as f would like to be met with a little bit more respect than that upon meeting someone for the first time. I don't know why anybody excuses this behavior of Nobara when this is just a total move. I genuinely do not care if this is Nobara staying true to herself, because if staying true to yourself means that you just get to be a dickhead to anybody who isn't a female or is your best friend that you grew up with when you were younger, then you can get the fuck out of my face, because I know damn well I hold myself up to a higher standard than that. Basing Nobara's cold personality off of something that didn't even directly happen to her, but instead happened to somebody that she knows, is kind of a weak fucking reasoning for her to be a dickhead to everyone. Not to mention that her first time ever showing to the audience what she's capable of as a Jujutsu sorcerer was a total flunk, but everybody forgets about it because she got the kill in the end. When Gojo sent both Yuji and Nobara into the building to go exercise the cursed spirit, Gojo said to Megumi, we're testing Nobara this time, not to test out the compatibility between Yuji and Nobara. And the main reason why Gojo wanted to specifically test Nobara is because the cursed spirits in the countryside are nothing like the ones within the city that they are in. So ultimately what Gojo wanted to do was to see how crazy and how reliable she could be as a Jujutsu sorcerer. If it weren't for Yuji messing up the cursed spirit's plan of keeping the kid hostage and throwing him out of balance, Nobara would have gotten that little kid killed. It's all thanks to Yuji that she was even able to get the kill in the first place and walk away with the audience believing that she was capable of doing it all on her own. I have never once heard somebody call out that Nobara could not have done that without Yuji, which I would be willing to excuse if she didn't walk into that building and totally give Yuji the middle finger and say, fuck off, I can do this on my own. That is the main reason why I am so genuinely distasteful towards her. I don't understand how Gege can write her to be a total dickhead towards humans, but not be even more aggressive or vicious when it comes to cursed spirits. The literal evil spirits that she is supposed to get rid of. That is whack as f. Moving on to Megumi, he doesn't really do anything that I dislike about him, but at the same time, he does absolutely nothing to make me like him. Throughout the entire series, he is just a constantly annoyed teenager, and I'm really sick and tired of people excusing that or liking him for that just because it's, quote, a mood. That's not a genuine reason as to why he's a good character. I will say, however, that I do like his goal and the fact that he even has a goal, even if that goal is only relevant for one arc in the entire series. It's better than having no goal and progressing for the sake of nothing throughout the rest of the series, unlike somebody else. Up next, we have Yuji Itadori, the main character of Jujutsu Kaisen himself. But you'd really be surprised at how much Gege doesn't even care that Yuji is the main character based off of how flip-floppy they are with Yuji and his goals. The first ever goal of Yuji's that we are told is that he wants to ensure that the people that he knows can get the best death that they possibly can. And for being a shonen protagonist, that is an incredible goal. Like, that is legitimately a goal I wish we have seen throughout other series. But that is immediately kind of thrown out the window once we realize how unforgiving and how horrendously grim this world is, because we realized that that was never going to be a reality for Yuji at all. So not long after that, Gege changes Yuji's goal to consuming Sukuna because that is something that only he can do, and that if he didn't do it, he wouldn't be able to live with himself, and he doesn't want to regret the way he lived his life. Now, this is a goal that is primarily followed for a good portion of the series all the way up until the end of the Shibuya incident, where Yuji states to Mahito that his brand new goal is that he wants to be a cog in the machine that just gets rid of cursed spirits. And considering how much cursed spirits have entirely over Yuji's life, that is the most unbelievably valid goal anybody could have in this world. But just like the rest of the series, that goal is thrown out the window because immediately following the Shibuya incident, the series decides to take a drastic and strong change in direction, with instead wanting to focus on Jujutsu sorcerers instead of any cursed spirits. And look, yes, I'm sure that after the series is over and they can continue living on as casual Jujutsu sorcerers, that they do continue to take out cursed spirits. But it's the fact that we won't ever get to see them do that. So once again, big middle fingers to the fans for that one, am I right? Moving on to literally any other character than the main three, I want to talk about how a lot of the characters feel like they only exist to be nothing more than a gimmick, or just to be a vessel for a cursed technique to exist within the series, whether it's so be it they can look cool, or just so that they can be used within a fight scene. When it comes to characters who feel like their entire purpose is to be this one gimmick, we have such characters like Inumaki, who communicates in nothing but rice ball ingredients. Or we have a character like Panda, whose literal whole thing that separates him from anybody else is the fact that he's a panda. That's it. Nothing else. But let's not forget about one of the most beloved characters throughout the entire series, Aoi Todo, and how he absolutely loves tall girls with a big ass, including this one idol that he idolizes. Look, I really don't have an issue with a character having a gimmick that makes them stand out from the rest of the cast, but if by the end of the series all I can say about those characters is that they're really strong and have that little funny gimmick, that doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. As for characters that purely exist just for their curse technique, we have characters such as Kamo to introduce blood manipulation, a very, very interesting technique while also being gross but fitting the theme of Jujutsu Kaisen at the same time, because it ultimately gets used by somebody else in a way cooler fashion, and even by the main character in a way cooler fashion. Or what about Momo? She can fly on a broomstick because she can manipulate tools with her curse technique. I'm sure that is a very creative ability that has a lot of freedom, and I'm sure Gege will do so many cool things that would allow her to do a lot of interesting and intricate attacks throughout the series, right? But don't forget about Mai. She can make one extra bullet per day just so that she can use a gun within the story. The same story that has created so many intricate and creatively created methods of fighting. So yay, we get to use a basic and boring form of fighting in the series. Isn't that awesome? Look, I understand that Mai does eventually serve a purpose later on in the series, but like I just said, that is way later on in the series. And I don't know about you, but I like my plot devices, at least the ones that are human, to still be at least a good character before they're used as a plot device. It is such a genuine shame that throughout Jujutsu Kaisen, there are very, very, very few characters that are actually given a goal or a proper story as to why they are the way they are or have the goals in which they do. The only characters that I genuinely love within Jujutsu Kaisen are Yuta, Maki, Gojo, and Geto. I love Yuta because of his growth throughout the whole series, and that it doesn't get just entirely thrown out the window unlike somebody else within the series. Yuta starts out as a very timid person, but once he is thrusted into the world of Jujutsu sorcery and gets called out for being a wimp, he finds the courage and the resolve to not only change himself to be a better person, but also to make himself stronger and give himself a personal goal on top of wanting to protect the people that he cares about. That is a very great and enjoyable overall growth in character that anybody can get behind. Up next, we have Maki, whose goal is to prove to the incredibly outdated and sexist clan that she was born into that despite her having no cursed energy and no cursed technique, that even a woman can do just as much as a man can in this world. A very understandable and incredible goal that anybody can get behind while watching. Up next is actually both Satoru Gojo and Suguru Geto. I love these two characters so much because these two characters could have easily have been nothing more than just their main gimmicks, with Gojo being the strongest and then Geto being Gojo's old best friend who ended up becoming a villain throughout the series. But Gege takes those gimmicks and gives them actual reasoning and explains why they exist within the first place. Gege does a absolutely beautiful job explaining why Geto walked down the path that he did and eventually how he got to the idea or the realization that he did in order to walk down that path. On top of that, they perfectly explain what it means for Satoru Gojo to be the strongest and overall what that means not only to Gojo himself, but to Geto and the entire world of Jujutsu sorcery. In a way, these two characters' growth are tied to each other, and I absolutely love seeing Gege execute these two together. Throughout this whole video, I have been talking very, very passionately and very, very aggressively because I believe that in order to have a genuine dislike or distaste towards something, that it has to have come from a love for that same thing previously. And the reason why I am even sitting here talking about Jujutsu Kaisen in the manner that I am is because I used to love Jujutsu Kaisen. I was so excited to see where it would go and the developments that would happen with the cast that we were introduced to. Because even though I called out earlier that they exist to be nothing more than the gimmick, I really liked those gimmicks and really liked some of the characters that we were introduced to. I loved Inumaki. I thought he was so cool, but ultimately they had nothing done with them and just kept introducing brand new characters that nobody gives a about. To put it in a simple manner, the more I took in Jujutsu Kaisen, the more I became disappointed with it. And I'll be honest, I wish I didn't receive or overall look at Jujutsu Kaisen in the manner in which I do. It is such an extremely hot topic on the internet to talk about that I wish I could contribute a positive commentary for the series, but I can't because that is not how I view the series. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna change my opinions or feelings for anyone. And if there's anybody out there who throughout watching this entire video can understand where I'm coming from or disagrees, but at least listen to everything that I had to say, thank you. It's so genuinely difficult to come across somebody who won't immediately bash you for a different opinion that you have on something that they really enjoy. And once again, I am not trying to make this video to say that because of the reasonings that I listed off that Jujutsu Kaisen is a bad series. I think there are a lot of things that Jujutsu Kaisen does incredibly right, but it's just that these things stop me from enjoying the series to the utmost potential that I possibly can. And with that being said and done, that is going to be the end of this video. If you guys have enjoyed how I presented any of the information or my opinion as a whole, be sure to go ahead and drop a like down below, subscribe if you guys are new, and comment down below if you guys agree or even disagree with everything that I said. It's okay if you disagree. We're not all born to agree and have the same opinion on something. So once again, it's fine. But on another note, if you disagree but can still see where I come from, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, my name is Zeke Media, and I will catch you all in the next one. Take it easy.